Shri Matre Namaha. Today I want to bring forth you about Tantra Shastra and Veda. Prayer. Dvadashatmara Vindakshaha Pitamata Pitamaha Swargadvaram Prajadvaram Mokshadaram Trivishtapam. A very common expression in English writing is the Tantra, but its use is often due to misconception and leads to others. For what does Tantra mean? The word denotes injunction, mean vidhi, regulation, niyama, shastra generally or treatise. Thus, Shankara calls the Sankhya as Tantra. A secular writing may be called Tantra for the following note. I am indebted to Professor Surendranath Das Gupta. The word Tantra has been derived in Kanishka Vritti from the root tan, to spread by the Aunadhika rule, Sarvadhatubhyaha tran, with addition of the suffix tran. Vachaspati Anandagiri and Govindananda, however, derive the word from the root tatri of tantri in the sense of vyutpadana, origination or knowledge. Ganapat, however, tantri has the same meaning as tan, to spread, and it is probable that the former root is a modification of the later. The meaning vyutpadana is also probably derived by narrowing the general sense of vistara, which is the meaning of the root tan. According to derivation of Tantra from tan to spread, Tantra is that scripture by which knowledge is spread. The suffix tra is from the root to save. That knowledge is spread which saves. What is that but religious knowledge? Therefore, as here and generally used, Tantra means a particular kind of religious scripture. The Kamika Agama of Shaiva Siddhanta says, Tannoti Vipulan Arthan Tantva Mantra Samanvitam Tranam cha kurute yasmat tantrametya vidhiyate. It is called Tantra because it promulgates great knowledge concerning Tattva and Mantra, and because it saves. It is a common misconception that Tantra is the name only of the scripture of the Shaktas or worshippers of Shakti. This is not so. There are Tantras of other sects of the Agama, Tantras of Shaivas, Vaishnavas, and so forth. We cannot speak of the treatise nor of the Tantra any more than we can or do speak of the Purana, the Samhita. We can speak of the Tantras as we do of the Puranas. These Tantras are Shastras of what is called the Agama. In a review of one of my works, it was suggested that the Agama is class of scriptures dealing with the worship of Saguna Ishvara, which was revealed at the close of the age of Upanishads and introduced partly because of the falling into dissected of Vaidika Achara. We will not, however, deal with this historical question beyond noting the fact that the Agama is open to all persons of all castes and both sexes, whether male or female, and is not subject to the restrictions of Vaidika Achara. This last term is a common one and comes from the verbal root char, which means to move or to act. The prefix 3 being probably used in the sense of restriction. Achara thus means practice, way, rule of life governing a sadhaka, or one who does sadhana or practice for some desired end. The agamas are divided into the main 3 groups according to Ishtadevata worshipped in Shakti, Shiva or Vishnu. The first is the Shakta Agama, the second is Shaiva Agama, and the third is Vaishnava Agama or Pancharatra Agama. But this last is the scripture to which the Srimad Bhagavatam refers as Shakta Tantra in the lines. Tenoktam Satvatam Tantram Yajñatva Mukti Bhag Bhavet Yatra Strishudhradasanam Samskaro Vaishnava Smrutaha. Some agamas are called Vaidika Agama and some Avaidika. The Kurma Purana mentions as belonging to the latter Kapala, Lakula, Vama, Bhairava, Purva, Paschima, Pancharatra, Pashupata and many others. Pasupata again is said to be both Vaidika and Avaidika, such as Lakula. Kurma Purana says, by me was first composed for the attainment of liberation. Shrauta, Pashupata, which is excellent, subtle and secret, the essence of Veda. The learned devoted to Veda should meditate on Shiva Pashupati. This is Pashupata Yoga to be practiced by the seekers of liberation. By me also have been spoken Pashupata, Soma, Lakula and Bhairava opposed to Veda. These should not be practiced. They are outside the Veda. Sanat Kumara Samhita says, Shaivagama is of 2 kinds, Shrauta and Ashrauta. Shrauta is Shrauti Saramaya and of the 2 kinds, Swatantra and Itara. Swatantra is first of 10 kinds and then Siddhanta of 18 kinds. Itara is Shruti Sara with numerous varieties. Into this mass of sects, I do not attempt here to enter except in general way. My subject is the doctrine and the ritual of the Shaktas. There are said to be Shaiva, Vaishnava and Shakta Upanishads favoring one or another doctrine. We must, however, in all cases, distinguish between what a school says of itself and what others say of it. So far, I am aware all agamas, whatever be their origin, claim now to be based on Shruti. Those who accept one interpretation are apt to speak of differing schools of Saivas, and there are Shaktas with their 9 Amnayas, 4 Sampradayas, each divided into twofold division of inner and outer worship. There is, for example, the Northern Shaiva school called Shaiva Siddhanta. The Shaktas who are to be found throughout India are largely prevalent in Bengal and Assam. Mahavishnu and Sadashiva are also one. As the Sammohana Tantra says, without Prakriti, the samsara cannot be. Without Purusha, true knowledge cannot be attained. Therefore, should both be worshipped. With Mahakali or Mahakala. Some, it says, speak of Shiva, some of Shakti, some of Narayana. But the Supreme Narayana is Supreme Shiva. The Nirguna Brahman, pure as crystal. The two aspects of the Supreme reflect the one in another. The reflection is Maya. Whence the world lords and the worlds are born. The Shaiva Siddhanta and Pancharatra are Shuddhadvaita and Vishishtadvaita, respectively. There is also a great body of Buddhist tantras of differing schools. The original connection of the Shaiva schools is said to be shown, amongst other things, by the fact that some tantras are common, such as Murugendra and Matanga tantras. It has been asserted that Shakta school is not historically connected with Shaivas. No grounds were given for this statement. Whatever be the historical origins of the former, the two appear to be, in several respects, allied at present. As anyone who knows Shakta literature may find out for himself. In fact, Shakta literature is in parts of unintelligible to one unacquainted with some features of what is called Shaiva Darshana. The Sammohana Tantra mentions 64 tantras, 327 upatantras, also Yamalas, Damaras, Samhitas, and other scriptures of the Shaiva class. 75 tantras, 205 upatantras, also Yamalas, Damaras, Samhitas of Vaishnava class. Numerous tantras and other scriptures of Ganapatya and Shaura classes, and a number of Puranas, Upapuranas, and other variously named scriptures of Buddha class. It then mentions over 500 tantras and nearly the same number of upatantras, of 22 agamas, Chinagama, Buddhagama, Jainagama, Pashupata, Kapalika, Pancharatra, Bhairavagama, and others. There is thus a vast mass of tantras in the agamas belonging to differing schools of doctrine and practice, all of which must be studied before we can speak with certainty as to what the mighty Agama as a whole is. Here we can briefly deal with one section of it only. Nevertheless, when these Agamas have been examined and are better known, it will, I think, be found that they are largely variant aspects of the same general ideas and practices. As instances of general ideas, I may cite the following. The conception of deity as super-personality and of the double aspect of God in one of which he really is or becomes a universe, at a true emanation from him in his creative aspect. Successive emanations are as of fire, from subtle to gross, doctrine of Shakti, pure and impure creation, the denial of unconscious Maya, such as Shankara teaches, doctrine of Maya Kosha and the Kanchukas, the carrying of the origin of things up and beyond Purusha Prakriti, acceptance or at a later stage of Shakti, affirmance of the reality of the universe, emphasis on devotion, provision for all castes and both sexes. Instances of common practice are, example, mantra, bija, yantra, mudra, nyasa, bhuta shuddhi, Kaundali yoga. Construction and consecration of temples and images, religious and social observances such as Anhika, Varnashrama Dharma, Utsava, and practical magic. Where there is mantra, yantra, nyasa, diksha, guru, and the like, there is Tantra Shastra. Understand? In fact, one of the names of the latter is Mantra Shastra. With these similarities, there are certain variations of doctrines and practice between the schools. Necessarily also, even on points of common similarity, there is some variance in terminology and exposition, which is unessential. Thus, when looking at their broad features, it is of no account whether with the Pancharatra we speak of, Lakshmi, Shakti, Vyuha, Sankocha, or whether in terms of other schools, we speak of Tripura Sundari and Mahakali, Tattvas and Kanchukas. Again, there are some differences in ritual which are of not great moment, except in one, and that a notable instance. I refer to the well-known division of worshippers into Dakshinachara or Vamachara. The secret sadhana of some of the latter has acquired such notoriety that to most the term the Tantra connotes this particular worship and its abuses and nothing else. I may here also observe that it is a mistake to suppose that the aberrations in doctrine and practice are peculiar to India. A missionary wrote to me some years ago that this country was a demon-hunted land. There are demons here, but they are not the only inhabitants, and tendencies to be found here have existed elsewhere. The West has produced many a doctrine and practice of an antinomian character. Some of the most extreme are to be found there. Moreover, though this does not seem to be recognized, it is nevertheless the fact that these Kaula rites are philosophically based on monistic doctrine. Now, it is this Kaula doctrine and practice, limited probably as being secret doctrine, at all times to comparatively few, which has come to be known as the Tantra. Nothing is more incorrect. This is but one division of worshippers, who again are but one section of the numerous followers of the Agamas, Shaiva, Shakta and Vaishnava. Though there are certain common features which may be called tantric, yet one cannot speak of the Tantra as though it were one entirely homogeneous doctrine and practice. Still less can be identified it with the particular practices and theories of one division of worshippers only. Further, the Tantras are concerned with science, law, medicine and a variety of subjects other than spiritual doctrine or worship. There is Indian chemistry and medicine are largely indebted to the Tantrikas. One cannot realize Brahman, the pure, except by being oneself pure. But to attain and keep this state, as well as progress therein, certain specific means, practices, rituals, or disciplines are necessary. The result cannot be got by mere philosophical talk about Brahman. Religion is a practical activity. Just as the body requires exercise, training and gymnastic, so does the mind also. This may be of a merely intellectual or spiritual kind. The means employed are called sadhana, which comes from the root sad, to exert. Sadhana is that which leads to siddhi, accomplishment. Sadhana is development of Shakti. Man is consciousness, mean Atma, vehicled by Shakti in the form of mind and body. But this Shakti is at base pure consciousness, just as Atma is. For Atma and Shakti are one. Man is thus a vast magazine of both latent and expressed power. The object of sadhana is to develop man's Shakti, whether for temporal or spiritual purposes. But where is sadhana to be found? In seeing that Vaidika Achara has fallen in practical desuetude, we can find it nowhere but in the Agamas and in the Puranas, which are replete with tantric rituals. The tantras of these Agamas therefore contain both a practical exposition of spiritual doctrine and the means by which the truth it teaches may be realized. Their authority does not depend, as Western writers and some of their Eastern followers suppose, on the date when they were revealed, but on the question whether Siddhi is gained thereby. This too is proof of Ayurveda. The test of medicine is that it cures. If Siddhi is not obtained, the fact it is written Shiva Uvacha or the like counts for nothing. The Agama therefore is a practical exposition and application of doctrine varying according to its different schools. The latest tendency in modern Western philosophy is to rest upon intuition has, however, to be led into higher and higher possibilities by means of sadhana. This term means work or practice, which in its result is a gradual unfolding of the spirit's vast latent magazine of power, enjoyment and vision which everyone possesses in himself. The philosophy of the Agama is, as friend and collaborator of mine, Professor Pramatanatha Mukhyopadhyaya very well put it, a practical philosophy, adding that what the intellectual's world wants today is this sort of philosophy which not merely argues but experiments. The form which sadhana takes is a secondary matter. One goal may be reached by many paths. What is a path in any particular case depends on considerations of personal capacity and temperament, race and faith. For the Hindu, there is Agama, which contains forms of discipline which his race has evolved and are therefore prima facie suitable for him. This is not to say that these forms are unliterable and acceptable to all. The tantras both in India and Tibet are the expression of principles which are of universal application. The mere statement of religious truths avails not. What is necessary for all is a practical method of realization. This is to the occult needs. Further, the ordinary run of the mankind can neither apprehend nor do they derive satisfaction from mere metaphysical concepts. They accept them only when presented in personal form. They care not for Shunyata, the void, nor Sachidananda in the sense of mere consciousness being bliss. They appeal to personal bodhisattvas, Buddhas, Shiva, Vishnu, Devi, who will hear their prayer and grant them aid. Next, they cannot stand by themselves. They need a definite picture of their object of worship, such as detailed in the dhyana of the devatas, an image, a yantra, a mandala, and so forth, a developed ritual and pictorial religion. The worship of images and an elaborate ritual was introduced. Stekantaya Kalyana Nade Nadedram Sri Venkatnivasaya Srinivasaya Mangalam Mangalasasana Premadacharya Progami Sarvaisha Purvairacharya Satkruta Yastu Mangalam.